The notice was plain, a ripped scrap of paper written in tidy script tacked to the faded board at the edge of Willow Street College. Room available. Calm area. Reasonable rent. Call Adam. No one walking past that morning could have guessed the story it was about to set in motion. Rachel Morgan surely didn't. She paused before the notice, her hand brushing over the dimmed ink. Her peers often teased such postings. Only broke students stayed in those tight spaces. They joked, but Rachel's gaze held on, the words with unusual focus. A strange pull inside told her this might be more than simply finding a place. Adam Carter, the man behind the note, had written it with a weary hand. A 38-year-old widower, Adam worked long shifts as an office clerk. His modest pay stretched thin between bills, rent, and raising his spirited 8-year-old daughter, Emma. The house he kept was small but warm, with creaky floors and peeling paint. A place that held both his daughter's laughter and the silence left behind by his late wife. Renting out the upper floor wasn't something he wished to do. It was something he needed to. Rachel dialed the number. Hello? The voice that answered was low, tired, and guarded. Hi, I saw your notice. Is the room still open? A pause lingered long enough to make her wonder if she had called wrong. Then came a muted reply. Yes, you can. Stop by today if you'd like. The Carter home stood at the far end of a narrow lane, hidden between two tall hedges. Rachel lingered outside, suitcase in hand. For someone like her, raised with drivers, bodyguards, and wide estates, this was uncharted ground. But no one here knew she was the daughter of Richard Morgan, one of the city's wealthiest men, and that was exactly how she preferred it. Adam answered the door himself. His dark hair was tousled, his sleeves rolled up, and there was a wary kindness in his eyes. He studied her in an instant, not in judgment, but in that cautious way of a father who thinks of safety first. "You're Rachel?" he asked. She nodded. Before Adam could say more, a small figure peeked from behind his legs. Wide, curious eyes, messy brown, pigtails, clutching a stuffed bunny. "Is she the one, Daddy?" the little girl whispered loudly, drawing a faint laugh from Rachel. Adam cleared his throat. "This is my daughter. She'll be around a lot. If that's a problem." "It's not," Rachel said softly, lowering herself to Emma's level. "Hi there, I'm Rachel." The child studied her for a beat, then smiled wide. "You can stay. You seem nice." It was such a pure verdict that even Adam managed to smile for the first time in days. Upstairs the room was plain, bare walls, a small window facing the street, a bed with faded sheets. To most, it might have felt too empty. To Rachel, it felt strangely right. She set her suitcase down, heart racing with a mix of nerves and relief. "Rent is due at the end of each month," Adam said, standing in the doorway with that same measured tone. "I'll keep things fair, and if you need something, just knock." Rachel held his gaze, steady and calm. "Thank you. I think this will work." She didn't mention she could have rented the most expensive flat in the city with a single swipe of her card. She didn't say her father would be furious if he knew she was here. Because for the first time in her life, Rachel Morgan wasn't seeking luxury. She was searching for something else entirely, and neither she nor Adam had the faintest clue how much this small choice would shift their lives. The first night Rachel stayed in, the upper floor of the Carter house was strangely hushed. She was used to marble, halls, echoing corridors, and the steady hum of staff tending to her home. Here, the quiet broke only by the soft creak of the boards under her bed and the occasional laughter of Emma drifting up from below. It wasn't grand, but it was real. The next morning, Rachel woke to the smell of pancakes. Following the scent, she found Emma at the little kitchen table, legs swinging, while Adam flipped pancakes in an old pan clearly, worn from use. Emma saw her first. "Morning, Rachel," she chirped, waving, her fork like a wand. Adam glanced up. "You don't have to come down, you know. Your place has its own kitchen." Rachel smiled. "Yes, but I thought maybe I could help." "Help!" Adam arched a brow. "You're a tenant, not a cook." Before Rachel could reply, Emma leapt off her chair. "Can she help me with homework? Daddy, please." Rachel knelt down. "What homework is it?" "Math." Emma groaned loudly, wrinkling her nose. "It's awful." Rachel chuckled softly. "I used to feel the same way." And just like that, the first strand of a bond was formed. Over the next few days, Rachel found her rhythm. She went to college in the mornings, came back in the afternoons, and spent evenings often downstairs, helping Emma with assignments, hearing her stories, or reading bedtime tales when Adam came home late from work. It wasn't long before Emma began calling, her big sister. One night, while Rachel braided Emma's hair, Adam leaned on the doorframe, arms crossed. His weary face softened as he watched them. For years, Emma had only known his love, his words, his efforts. And though he never said, he knew Emma longed for a motherly hand, a gentleness he could never give. He cleared his throat. "She's grown fond of you." Rachel glanced up, smiling lightly. "She's easy to love." Adam studied her a moment more. Something about Rachel, her manner, her speech, even the way she held herself, didn't match the image of a struggling student. But he set the thought aside. After all, everyone had secrets. The glimpses of Rachel's hidden life came in quiet slips. Her phone, sleek and costly, once buzzed with dozens of texts in a group chat named Morgan Family Gala. She quickly muted it, acting as if it was nothing. When Emma asked if she had ever eaten at a fancy restaurant, Rachel just smiled knowingly but gave no reply. Instead, she asked Emma what her favorite meal was, and when Emma whispered, "chocolate chip cookies," Rachel vowed to make them someday. Another time, when Adam's old car broke down, Rachel offered to pay, but she framed it as, "I know a cheap mechanic." Adam politely declined, his pride stronger than his fatigue. Yet, she found gentle ways to help. She'd return with groceries and claim they were 2-for-1 deals. She tucked new pencils into Emma's bag and said they were extras from class. Emma believed her, but Adam noticed. Late one evening, after Emma had fallen asleep, Adam stepped out to lock the gate. He saw Rachel sitting on the porch, gazing at the night sky. "Do you like it here?" he asked quietly. Rachel looked at him, her green eyes catching the porch light. "More than I thought I would. Most students wouldn't want to live in an old house with a single dad and a child." Rachel's smile was soft, almost wistful. "Most students aren't searching for what I'm searching for." Adam frowned a little, curiosity stirring. "And what's that?" Rachel paused, then murmured, "A place that feels like home." Adam didn't pry further. He only nodded, though her words stayed heavy in his heart long after he went inside. Neither of them knew then, but the fragile strands of trust and belonging were already twisting into something neither wealth nor hardship could ever buy. Adam Carter was a man who knew how to stretch each penny. Rachel saw it when he poured the last bit of milk into Emma's cereal and filled his own cup with water instead. She saw it when he stitched the sole of his shoes rather than buying new ones. And she saw it when he walked Emma to school in the rain, holding his thin coat over her head while he himself got wet. To Rachel, such moments spoke louder than words. Adam was a man who bore the world's weight in silence without asking for help. One Saturday morning, Emma tugged on Rachel's sleeve. "Rachel," Daddy said, "we can't go to the fair this year. Tickets are too much." Her voice wavered, though she tried to be brave. "But I don't mind." Rachel's heart ached. That evening she searched online for discount passes, determined to bring a smile to Emma. A week later, Emma squealed with joy as the three of them entered the fairgrounds. When Adam eyed the tickets, Rachel quickly said, "They were free passes from my college, a promo." Adam narrowed his eyes but stayed silent. Emma's laughter was too precious to spoil with doubt. Rachel kept up her quiet kindness. She placed grocery bags on the counter, always with the same excuse, Tufos. R1 specials. She tucked new notebooks into Emma's school bag, saying her professors gave her extras. When Adam's old car wouldn't start one morning, she called a mechanic to fix it, leaving money in an envelope with a note, college refund. Adam wasn't naive, he noticed. He just didn't know how to respond. Pride and gratitude wrestled in him, yet he let it stand, partly because Rachel's help came, with such gentle respect. One night, Emma had dozed off on the couch, clutching her stuffed bunny. Adam softly covered her with a blanket before stepping out to the porch. He found Rachel there with a cup of tea, her gaze far away. "You do a lot for us," Adam said lowly. Rachel turned, startled. Well, Emma's like a little sister to me." He studied her a long while. "You give more than you should. Groceries, supplies even, those fair passes." Rachel's chest tightened. "Do you want me to stop?" Adam shook his head. "No, I only wonder why." Rachel paused. She couldn't reveal the truth, that she was the daughter of one of the city's richest men, choosing a simpler life. Instead, she whispered, "Because sometimes giving feels better than taking." The next day, Adam's pride was tested again. Emma's shoes had worn, holes peeking through the soles. He sighed, planning to mend them. But Rachel came back from college with new bright shoes, insisting they were from a friend who'd bought the wrong size. Emma squealed, hugging Rachel tight. "You're the best!" Adam longed to protest, but Emma's joy silenced him. That evening, he sat at his desk staring at the bills. Life had been rough since his wife died. Yet here was this young woman, his tenant, softening the weight of his burden without ever asking for return. Later that week, Emma tugged Rachel toward Adam as they rested in the living room. "Daddy, can Rachel stay forever?" she asked sweetly. Adam chuckled, ruffling Emma's hair. "That's not how life works, honey." Rachel, though, felt a lump in her throat because deep down, she knew she wanted to stay too. And while Adam still thought of her as just a kind student, the truth was far more complex. One day soon, her hidden world would knock at his door. It began on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Emma was drawing rainbows on scraps of paper, while Rachel helped Adam fix a dripping faucet in the kitchen. The air was warm, ordinary, just another day in their small home. Then a sleek black car rolled to a stop outside the Carter place. Its polished surface gleamed in the sun, its tinted windows sealing off the view. The car didn't belong on their street. It didn't belong in their neighborhood at all. Adam frowned, drying his hands on a rag. Now who could that be? Before Rachel could respond, the car door swung open. A tall man in a tailored suit stepped out, presence commanding. His silver hair shone, his shoes untouched by dust. Neighbors peeked through curtains, whispering. Rachel froze. She knew that car. She knew that figure. Her father. "Richard Morgan. Rachel." His voice cut through the air like steel. "I've been searching everywhere for you." Emma blinked in confusion. Adam stepped in, front of her, protective, his stance tight. "Who are you?" The man's piercing gaze landed on Adam, then softened a bit when it shifted to Emma. Finally, it settled on Rachel. "I'm her father, and she has no business staying in a place like this." Gasps rippled from neighbors watching outside. Adam turned to Rachel, his eyes questioning. "Father!" Rachel's throat closed. She nodded slowly, guilt shining in her green eyes. "This is my dad." Adam reeled as if the ground had shifted beneath him. The tenant he had welcomed was not just a student. She was the daughter of one of the city's wealthiest men. Richard stepped forward, his tone firm with command. "Pack your things, Rachel. You're coming back home." "Enough of this act." Rachel shook her head. "Not yet. Not yet." His voice hardened. "You've been living in—" He gestured at the small house with disdain. "This place with strangers when you've got everything waiting at home, a mansion, comfort." Rachel's voice trembled, though her will was strong. "That's just walls and money. Here, I found something more." Emma gripped Rachel's hand, whispering, "Don't go." Richard looked at the girl, then at Adam, his face shadowed with disapproval. "This man can't give you what you need. He can't protect you, Rachel. He can't offer the life you deserve." Adam's pride flared. "I never claimed I could," he said firmly. "But she's been safe here, and respected." Rachel stepped forward. "Dad, please, you don't see it. This family, Adam and Emma, gave me something our mansion never had: warmth, a belonging." For a moment, silence pressed in thick. The neighbors still watched, whispers rising like wind. Richard's jaw tensed. "Rachel, you're my daughter. Your place is with me, not here." Rachel held his gaze with quiet strength. "Maybe I am your daughter, but here, for once, I've felt like a sister, like part of a family that didn't see me as money or a name, just me." Her father faltered, the hard mask on his face slipping briefly. He had never heard her speak with such resolve. Inside, Emma clung to Rachel's arm. "You're not leaving, right?" Rachel knelt by her, brushing back her hair. "I don't want to, not unless I must." Adam stood still, his feelings tangled. He wanted Rachel to stay, but knew she wasn't of his world. Still, when he saw the tears in Emma's eyes, his heart ached. Finally, Richard drew a long breath. "We'll discuss this at home, Rachel." But for now, his gaze swept the room, settling reluctantly on Adam. "I see this place means something to you." Rachel stood straighter, her hands gripping Emma's. "It means everything." And for the first time, Richard Morgan realized his daughter's heart might be richer than all his fortune combined. The Carter house had never felt so heavy. The quiet warmth Rachel had cherished was replaced with silence pressing against the walls. Adam sat on the couch's edge, staring at the bills scattered across his desk, while Rachel lingered at the window, her fingers clutching the curtain tightly. Emma, sensing unease, curled up with her, stuffed bunny, her usual cheer shaded by worry. Adam finally spoke, voice low but steady. "Rachel, your father's right. You don't belong here." Rachel turned fast, her eyes burning with hurt. "Don't say that. I chose to be here with you, with Emma." He sighed, rubbing at his temples. "You're different. Anyone can see it. Your poise, the way you speak, even the hidden generosity. I should have known you weren't just another student." Rachel stepped closer. "So what if I'm different? That doesn't change how I feel here." Adam looked up at her, his dark eyes tired. "You deserve more than creaky floors and patched shoes. You deserve safety, comfort, things I can't give." Rachel's voice shook, though she stood firm. "Do you think comfort outweighs love, or laughter around a small table? Do you think a mansion filled with staff feels like home?" Adam faltered. Her words touched something deep, yet his pride was louder. "Rachel, your father can give you everything. I can barely give Emma enough." Emma, silent until then, suddenly cried out, "But you give me everything, Daddy." Her voice cracked, tears filling her eyes. She ran to Rachel, clutching her hand. "And Rachel makes us happy. Please don't make her leave." Rachel knelt beside Emma, hugging her tightly. "I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart," she whispered, though her own eyes glistened. Adam's chest ached at the sight. He wanted to believe her. He wanted her to stay, but reality still weighed heavier than hope. That night, Richard Morgan returned, expecting his daughter to be packed. Instead, he found her seated at the table with Adam and Emma, sharing a simple supper of soup and bread. Emma was giggling. Rachel, smiling softly, and Adam, though quiet, watched with an expression Richard could not name. Richard's voice rang out. "Rachel, enough of this nonsense. Come home." Rachel rose slowly. "Home. Dad, this feels more like home than that mansion ever has." Richard scowled. "You're blinded by sentiment. This man," he pointed at Adam, "can't give you stability." Adam stood, jaw clenched. "He's right. I can't." His words cut deep into Rachel's heart. He turned to her, forcing strength into his tone. "Rachel, you should go with him. You'll have a future there." Rachel shook her head, hard. "My future is my choice, and right now I choose to remain." The room fell, silent. Emma's small hand squeezed Rachel's, her tear-streaked face looking between the adults. "Why can't she stay with us forever?" she begged. For once, Richard said nothing. His daughter's defiance, the child's innocence, and Adam's quiet dignity struck all at once. He saw not only a weary father, but a man carrying love with strength no fortune could copy. Rachel's voice grew gentle. "Dad, can't you see here? I'm not a millionaire's daughter. I'm just me, and that's all I want to be." Richard exhaled slowly, shoulders sinking. For the first time, his certainty wavered. Adam, torn between pride and longing, looked at Rachel, knowing that whatever came next, nothing would be the same. The night after Richard's intrusion lingered like a storm cloud. Rachel hardly slept, torn between her father's world and the warmth she'd found here. Adam paced the living room, burdened by unspoken feelings, and Emma, innocent but perceptive, clutched her rabbit as if afraid it would all vanish. The next morning, Richard returned, this time without the steel of a businessman. His jacket hung over his arm, his face lined with weariness. For once, he looked less like a tycoon and more like a tired dad. "Rachel," he said, voice softer, "I don't understand why you chose this, but I see you found something here, something money never gave you." Rachel gasped. "You mean you'll let me stay?" Richard hesitated, then slowly nodded. "If this is what you want, then yes. I won't force you, but at least let me make sure you're cared for." His gaze turned to Adam. "And you, Mr. Carter, have done what I could not. You gave my daughter belonging." Adam stiffened. "I didn't do anything remarkable." Richard shook his head. "Remarkable isn't always expensive. Sometimes it's simply human." A fragile calm spread through the room. Richard no longer tried to drag her away. Instead, he asked quietly, "What do you need?" Adam opened his mouth, but Rachel spoke first. "We don't need anything. We already have what matters." Yet Richard wasn't blind. He saw the thin shoes near the door, the worn curtains, the pile of bills on the table. His wealth had bought him power. But here he saw something priceless: love. He cleared his throat. "At least, allow me to cover Emma's schooling. Think of it as my thanks for caring for Rachel." Adam paused, pride warring with sense. But when Emma's eyes lit at the thought, he finally agreed. "All right, but nothing else." Rachel smiled through tears. "Thank you, Dad." Life slowly fell back into rhythm. Rachel continued her classes, still living upstairs in the Carter house. Emma flourished, now with supplies and shoes, though her favorite part of each day remained Rachel's bedtime tales. Adam stayed guarded, but each night when he returned from work, seeing Rachel and Emma laughing together softened the walls around his heart. She had become more than a tenant. She was family. One evening, as the three of them shared dinner, Rachel caught Adam's gaze. For a moment, silence spoke for them. The gratitude he could not say, the affection she could not confess. Emma broke it with her bright voice. "This feels like forever, doesn't it?" Adam chuckled. "What do you mean, honey?" Emma beamed. "Like Rachel will always be here. Like we're a real family." Rachel's throat tightened, but she smiled. "Maybe forever begins with nights like this." Later, Richard stood outside the house, watching through the window as laughter filled the small dining space. For the first time in years, he didn't see his daughter as the lonely girl in a grand estate. He saw her happy, truly happy. "Perhaps she was right all along," he whispered. Inside, Adam, Rachel, and Emma clinked their glasses of water in, a simple toast. No lavish feast, no chandeliers, just warmth, joy, and belonging. And as Rachel looked around the modest room, she realized the truth she had been chasing all along. Sometimes the greatest riches are not found in fortune, but in the hearts that open their doors.